Welcome to the Mortgage Podcast, where we give tactics, strategies, and inspiration to get you to 10 plus loans per month. We talk a lot about how to make a ton of money in mortgage while also being happy and thriving in your personal life. If you want to be a mortgage millionaire, you're in the right place.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. It's Todd Screamer with the Mortgage Podcast, and today we're going to go a little off script, and I'm going to share with you the story of this process I created called JOLT with a great project team. I've always believed that any person could be successful. Now, I'm in mortgage, so all this context is about mortgage, but you could apply this to any business, okay? So I always had that inner belief. When I first started, I remember I went to my boss, who didn't hire me the first time I interviewed, although I was already had 7 years great experience as a salesperson. And for the Fortune 500 company I was a part of, I was salesperson of the year out of 41 salespeople. He didn't hire me, so I had to beg to get hired. So I eventually got the job. But I remember going to him and I said, "Hey, who is doing the best here that's been in the business the least amount?" He says, "Well, that guy you're sitting next to, he graduated from the same college you did 2 years ago exactly, and he's gotten the business. He's doing 10 loans a month." I'm like, "Is that a lot?" He's like, "It's pretty good for being 2 years in the business. Like, he's impressive." I said, "Okay." I went over to that man and I made him my best friend. I was just going to copy him. So I asked him to mentor me. I would go on sales calls with him. I remember the first sales call I ever went on, we met a guy named Ray, and I saw how charismatic this gentleman was towards Ray. And I'm like, "Oh, I got to be charismatic. I got to do the double handshake. I got to act excited and smile when I see him." Like, I learned to be more charismatic from this guy. And I took him golfing. Like, I did anything to be around him, because I'm like, I am going to copy this man so bad that I'm going to get his results. And what that taught me was, I was in business about 13 months and I closed 10 loans. I took my paycheck. Back then we used fax machines. My dad was a big mentor of mine. So I said, "Dad," in a big black felt marker, "Dad, I did it!" Exclamation point. Faxed it to him. Dad calls me that night. He says, "Son, was that your pay stub? Did you really make that much money in 1 month?" I said, "Yeah, it's been a big goal of mine." And he's so, "That's amazing. You've only been there like a little over a year." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Dad, I'm nowhere close to where I can take this. Like, I don't even know how to do loans yet. Like, I have to baby every single one, and it's a mess, but I'm learning every single time." Well, back up about 6 months. I went to my boss, same boss who didn't hire me the first time. I said, "Boss, I got a friend that's going to college, and he'll make calls for me for free just to have an internship, but he'll work full time. His classes are at night." He's so, "Really?" I said, "Yeah. You want him to make sales calls for you. That's your job." I said, "I know, but I'm better in person." I said, "I've been making 3-4 hours of calls a day to get these appointments, but he'll do them for me and I can train him." He says, "Well, let me see if I can get it approved." So he approved it. A couple weeks later, this friend comes work for me. And I said, I just had one script. And I said, "Hey, here's the people you call. Here's the script you use." We spent 4 hours role playing the script. By the time after 4 hours, he was as good as me. So I let him loose. He had about 4 hours left that day. I went out to make some sales calls. I came back before he got back right at 5 o'clock before he left. I had a loan app showing up. I said, "Hey, Chris, how did it go?" He says, "Well, I don't know if this is good or not, but I got you 7 appointments in the time slots that you had on your calendar that you gave me. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, Chris, that's great." He walks out and I sit down and I'm like, "He got that appointment? Oh my God, he got an appointment with Mary? Oh my God," right? And I just was blown away. Got 7 appointments with call in 4 hours. That's crazy. So all that to say this, my business exploded. Now, of course, I didn't do 10 loans every single month after 13 months, but I'd do 6, and then I'd do 12, and then I'd do 5, and then I'd do 8, then I'd do 13, right? But it looked like a graph that went up over time like this. At the end of 2 years later, I was averaging 15 loans a month. 2 years after that, I'm averaging 28 loans a month. First mortgages. 140 million a year. And I did that for a long time. So now I'm going to challenge you to think about doing that yourself. Maybe not 28 loans, but for sure 10. I'm going to challenge you. And I'm going to give you, we all have these times in our lives where we have like before and after moments. I call them magic moments. So a couple months ago, I go through this whole process for 2.5 years where I study and I learned sales funnels. I got with Alex Hermosi. I had Carl White coach me on marketing. I had Amir Saeed as a coach, some of the stuff, and several others you wouldn't even know their names. And I'm like, I can replicate this. So go back. I'm recording this in November of 2025. Go back to about 2023, and I get to know this guy, Alex Hermosi. And for those that don't know him, I'm going to tell you his story. Alex had he's a buff guy, and he owned 6 gyms as a young man. He's still young. He's only like 36 years old or something. And he figured out after several years of working on this, how to drive a lot of business and make these 6 gyms really profitable. Then he had a friend of his say, you make more money being a gym owner than any of the other gym owners that we know, like by 5 times. So why don't you just teach people how to do that? So he started trying to teach people how to do that, but no one could get all the work done. They're like, I don't understand sales funnels. I don't understand how to make an offer. I don't know Canva, like all these problems. And then another mentor said, just do it for him. Like, just do it for him. And he created this company called Gym Launch. Now, this is about 8 years ago, roughly. He has done this for 4,600 gyms. Doubled, tripled, quadrupled their sales. Doubled, tripled, quadrupled their income. 4,600 times. Now, I'm a skeptic. I still think the guy's lying, to be really blunt. So I'm like, I'm going to go on Reddit. If this guy's fake, Reddit's going to tear him apart. There was a couple bad Reddit comments, but hundreds and hundreds of glowing comments. And then I'm like, I'm going to go pay to see this guy. He has a two-day workshop. I'm going to go to the 2-day workshop. So I show up there and they put me in the special group, right? Because I run a big company. And I get some private time with Alex. And sure enough, I'm like, wow. He really did do this. They're really that good. So I come back from that trip. I like fly fishing. So I go locally to the stream and I'm going up and down the stream on an early Saturday morning. And let's say I was fishing, I wasn't catching. So I had a lot of time to think. And it just hit me. This is about 3 days after I got home. I'm thinking about that trip and I'm like, I just got to do this for the loan officer, just like he did it for the gym owner. I've got to do the funnels. I've got to do the target marketing. I've got to do the offers. I got to make all the phone calls for them. I will just do it for them just like he did. If he did it with 4,600 gyms, I could do it with 250 loan officers. And I called an emergency meeting with my team. And I said, guys, we're doing it wrong. We're trying to teach people how to do this stuff. We need to do it for them. And we just started doing it for them. Now, I'm on a call 2 months ago. I have 21 of these of my loan officers in a group. And we go over numbers every single month. Now, when they're in this process, they don't do anything. They're on a coaching meeting every 2 weeks where we just talk about how to sell better. And we talk about what we're doing for them, but they don't do anything. It's not like, oh, go do all this work. They just are on the call. Okay. We're doing role plays and stuff. So one of the things I do once a month is get numbers. So we get numbers. I had 21 loan officers in this market close 243 loans. That's 11 and a half loans per loan officer. So I go back 6 months ago with this same group. The same group 6 months ago was closing 105 loans all the way to 243. And they're addicted. They're like, Todd, this is like the best thing I've ever seen. You just get me a ton of appointments. Last month, we got our average client 19.6 appointments. So 20 appointments with big accounts. We don't go after any unproductive accounts. They're all big accounts. So each of those loan officers, on average, will start doing business with about 4 of those accounts, which will be about 4 more loans a month. It's crazy. It's crazy. I feel like when I talk about my purpose and all that stuff, I have a way to help any loan officer double and triple their results by doing work for them. And it's magical. It's so fun. I'm so addicted to it, I can't tell you, because I know what that means when a loan officer goes from closing 5 loans a month to 10, he or she can do so much more. They're proud of themselves. Their spouse is like, honey, you doubled in a bad market. That's crazy. Some of it's feeling, some of it's just, hey, we got another 25 grand a month that we can save and spend a little more. So we're not like worried about money all the time. I'm just telling you guys, this is beautiful. Like it's so exciting for me. I can't tell you, but I wanted to take some time to tell the story. Now, does that mean, oh, every single loan officer, like in Summit, we only hire 3 loan officers a month. So I tell you this so that maybe you can do that on your own. I don't know if you will or not because it takes so much skills to do all this stuff. But I would encourage you to, if you want to grow, I don't know if you'll be able to do it on your own. I didn't. Remember that Chris guy? He's who built my business. Now you put me in front of someone, I know how to develop rapport. So do you. So it's not so much about, oh, Todd's special. I just got so many account appointments that I closed some of them. And that's just me being direct and humble. Now, did I get a lot better at sales skills? Yeah, but I'm not anointed by God with my sales skills, okay? I just learned. When you do a bunch of sales calls, you learn faster. So I probably, when you talk about going on account presentations, I do 200-300 a year compared to most people's 10 a year. So you just get better really fast, that repetition. And this is what this is also doing for a lot of my loan officers is they're just get that repetition. After they do 50 or 60 meetings, they're like, I get it. Okay, I got to dress a little better. Double handshake. Oh, don't be afraid to ask the big emotional questions, right? And they just start learning all this stuff because they're doing it every single day. Okay, so that is the story of the entire JOLT process. I hope you appreciated it. I hope it made sense to you. And I hope that you share it with someone because it can motivate someone else to say, hey, I could perhaps do this for my business. I don't know, I'll go to my grave doing this process. I think that the done for you model and the adding massive leverage to someone's business at the amount that we get paid as loan officers, it's silly, stupid. Like I literally kick myself. I'm like, why didn't you think of this 25 years ago? Right? You just didn't think of it. It's just not how the business is done. Things need to change. And I'm doing that. And I hope you appreciate this. Please share it with someone. Have a beautiful week. Talk to you next week.